In this video, we are going to create a very simple animator by creating a new project in Android Studio. So I open Android Studio, new project, and I'm gonna select empty activity, name it Animators, and save it as Animators. Language Kotlin, API, minimum API 24. Of course, this project and the animator itself will work on any device with API down to 11. So I press finish and wait for the project to be created. Okay, our project is created. First, I enable view binding to easily access view items in my layout. Therefore, I go to build.gradle file and enable under Android view build features, and then inside it view binding true. Sync now. View binding is enabled. I go back to main activity and then to my layout file. Here I have a text of hello world. I'm gonna change it to a button, or simply just we can leave it as hello world. It's a view after all, and we can animate any view. Let's add an ID to it. I give it an ID of hello, and then inside the code I change it from text view to button. Then I head over to main activity code. Here I create a view binding with latent var binding. Its type is activity main binding, and the name of activity main binding comes from the name of the layout file. So that's how it's named. I import this binding file, binding class, and then I create the binding before set content view with activity main binding dot inflate. I pass in layout inflator, and then I set content view as binding dot root. Now I have access to different views inside this layout, and we only have one view inside the layout. Therefore, I say binding dot hello. I set an on-click listener to it to trigger the animation, and the animation will be performed on the button. So I name this property as button. That is sent to this lambda, and inside it, first I create a very simple animator. I'm gonna create an animator that animates only the scale X property of this view, because this is going to be a very simple animator. So I name it X scale, and I create it using object animator class. And scale, we know that is a float property, so I say of float, and then I pass in button. That is the target view to be animated. Let's import object animator as well, and then the property name that we want to animate. We can either say X scale, scale X, or we can use one of the constants defined to introduce these to the framework. So I can say scale X. I import view as well, and then the target value that I want to animate to, I specify it here. By default the scale is 1, so I'm gonna animate it to like 5F. And all now is left to do is starting the animator. Therefore xscale.start. But before we start it, I'm gonna set some properties on it. Like, for example, I want to repeat it several times, so I say xscale.set repeat count. In fact, this is Kotlin, so I simply assign the value to the property name. So repeat count equals 3. Let's run it 3 times. And how it's going to be repeated? xscale.repeat mode. Repeat mode specifies how our animation is going to be repeated each time it is being repeated. So value animator dot reverse. We can say either reverse or restart to restart the animation or run the animation in reverse. Okay. Let's also set a duration for it, xscale.duration. Like, let's run it for 1 second or 1000 milliseconds and finally start it. So now I'm gonna connect my phone to Android Studio and run this application on my device. So I'm gonna connect the device and get back to you. Okay, my phone is running. Let's run the application on it. Alright, our app is running, and I'm gonna click this button and it should animate the scale X property of the view for 3 times, and the duration will be 1 second. There we go. 1, 2, and 3. Yes, one of them was the animation in reverse. So that's basically how you create a very simple animator and apply it to a view. You animate a view using Object Animator, which is one of the many classes defined inside this framework, this new framework for animations called animators.